Hey everyone, this is Björkvin from The Long Wait. I apologize for the late mixing video. It's about a week late, at least in my deadline brain. So I'm gonna run through the mix of Dispute and I'm not gonna go super in depth with it, but I will try to tackle most of the stuff that I did that I'm especially proud of, and then some of the things that I would like to have done better. So first things first, let's just start with the kick. So the kick was actually replaced, and then it was not used on the final mix. It was replaced by actually these 3 kick drums. So instead of this one, you had this here. So that obviously sounds a lot better, and these are a combination of different styles of kicks. So you hear this one, and then this adds to it, and then this one. So that's always obviously a great thing to do if you have a lackluster drum sound that you want replaced. You can do this with snare, you can do this with the kick or anything like that. So because it's very important to have good kick and snare sounds, because they are the driving beat of the song, especially in a song like this. Alright, the thing I was very impressed with, or not impressed with, but thing I really enjoyed was that the snare almost needed no mixing. Obviously it's going to the drum group that has some EQ on it, mostly just kind of notching out resonances, and the 1176 drum compressor, and then the Kramer tape here for some slight drum saturation. But the snare actually sounds really good just on its own, so I can deactivate all those, and this EQ is simply a high pass filter like that. There's nothing else going on. So this snare sounds like that. So pretty thick and weighty, very meaty. I really liked it, and obviously I could have gated this to keep the hi-hat out of it, but I wasn't too worried about it. I kind of liked it as the natural drum sound here. Then if you want to listen to the kick and the drums and how I added this to it, here's the kick drum EQ. Even though I used drum replacement, I did do some mixing to it. So here we have a dip in the mids here, some small beater things here, a high pass filter, some added bass, some added click in the beater, and then we have a compressor doing 4-to-1 and compressing a medium attack, not a fast attack, so it lets the beater through, and it has an auto release speed, and it's just on a classic compression here. And then it goes to Kramer tape. I love Kramer tape. It really kind of gives this interesting overall gel and sound to everything that I really like the sound of. So I just use it, and usually go for a preset, then I tweak it so that I like the sound of it. So let's hear how all this stuff, all the drums are, and I'll just leave these. These are just EQs. They're just EQs like that, trying to take out some of the hi-hat sound of both of the overheads. And you can tell by my routing here that I routed everything to bus 2 to the drum bus, and then I more or less just mixed it through one track using sort of the top-down approach to mixing. But here this is, and this goes to a drum verb and a parallel drum bus that is doing, it's just compressing using the V comp, doing a mono room crush. I think I tweaked these settings a little bit, but left them alone for the most part. So let's hear that, and I'll activate these. So that's the drums there. And then moving on to the bass. The bass was very easy to do. I didn't do a lot. It's just on the bus here. I just put some EQ, some high pass filtering here, just in the very lows here at 40. I didn't do anything. I dipped it slightly here. There was a resonance that I didn't like. And then I like boosting the mids. Instead of boosting it in the low mids, I like boosting in the higher mids so that the attack, or basically it cuts through the mix better, and the bass is more audible on small speaker systems, and it isn't, if you listen to on big speakers, it's cutting through while not overloading your system with bass. Or that's what I think, at least. So then it's just down to Kramer tape again, and using an LA two-way here. So let's bypass all these and listen to it. Cool. So now in hindsight, I might have, I really dislike when there's like a no noise function like this. I usually take the noise off, but sometimes that's like the vintage sound, even though it's just noise, which is weird to me. But I released it already, so I like having a deadline, and I like having put something out, even though I know it might not be absolutely perfect to begin with. It's more fun that way. You can learn from it, and you do it better the next time around. There's plenty of more songs in our repertoire that we have to record, and there's plenty more coming in the next months. So let's move on to the keys. The keys are very easy. They aren't really super important, but they do add a touch of the mute it and you'll miss it thing, so that they are in the background and they aren't super important or super audible or present in the mix, but if I were to mute it, you would probably notice. But what I got here is a mid-side EQ, and then I just have the Dirty Electric Piano preset, and then I have a doubler using the Pensado doublers preset, I think. And the mid-side EQ makes it way more stereo and kind of fills out the stereo spectrum a lot more, and just makes it sound a little bit better, and fits in the mix a little bit better for me. So let's hear that without it. Cool. And then the acoustic guitars. The acoustic guitars are mainly just EQ, some mid-side EQ, because I like spreading them out like that. It just gives it a nice little stereo image. And then I have a compressor, the MV2, which is a very interesting compressor. This is really just compressing the highs, or kind of taking the string sound out of it. And then I have the this EQ here that's almost doing nothing except a slight boost in the 180. I like the VEQ on guitars. There's something about it that makes it sound good. So let's hear the before and after. There we go. So that's it. If you heard that Skype noise, there was nobody logging onto your Skype. That was mine. Next up is the electric guitars. And they have EQ, of course, some mid-side EQ as well. They used to have a saturation, but I guess I didn't like that. They have some compression, just the Renaissance Axe. And actually most of the EQ is done on some of the tracks themselves. Let's go hunt them down. yeah, there were some weird resonances, or not resonances, there was something, yeah, I didn't like in the 200s that I EQ'd out. So let's take that out first and let's listen to that. So took a little bit of honkiness out of them, used some EQ, sort of the Renaissance compressor, obviously not doing a lot here. And then the CLA guitars to kind of finish it off with some reverb, some extra compression, and then the stereo spread. Alright, what is next? The verse vocals. They actually, let's go back to them here. Where are they? Here we go. The verse vocals I'm very proud of. They just sound great because Liz sounds great. And there's plain. And the verse vocals are just done on this bus here. And it has just EQ here, mostly taking out the lows here, and then some slight clarity boost. Let's deactivate that. And then we have the LA2A, and I use the LA2A a lot. Sometimes I use it to compress a lot, sometimes I just use it for color, because even if it's not doing anything, it seems to add some artificial tube sound or something like that to the sound. So I also have a leveling sort of compressor that doesn't have a high ratio but has a really high threshold. And I'll deactivate that. And then I have an EQ here doing what? A slight cut in the nasal soundingness here. And let's hear how that sounds like. Oh, and then it goes to a reverb. What's the reverb? Or doesn't it? Parallel vocal. Oh, it goes to parallel vocal. So what do I got on the parallel vocal here? I got a CLA vocal that is basically a highly compressed reverb, more or less. And then I have the EQ that's just EQing out that reverb. So you can really think of this as a reverb that also has a compressor on it, because it has the reverb and delay, or an effects processor with reverb and delay that has compression on it as well. So let's see how all this sounds here, before and after. So let's listen to that.
I want to settle this dispute. You give users time to lose. His skin's not even cold, and his body has been sold. It's dripping to the air to seek fruition there. He burns but still smells good, and you shoot it as he would. I want to settle this dispute. You give users time to lose. His skin's not even cold, and his body has been sold. It's dripping to the air to seek fruition there. He burns but still smells good, and you shoot it as he would.
So as you could hear there, it definitely sounds very different in solo than it does with the rest of the music. And at one point I was thinking, oh, this sounds really weird in solo, but once I add the music to it and having it in context, it obviously sounds a lot better. And that's just a recommendation of not mixing in solo that much. Obviously, hit the solo button when you really need to dig down and find something, but try to make the rest of your decisions in the context of the mix. All right, then we have the chorus vocals that are over here. And they're very similar stuff that I'm doing. Just EQ, high pass filtering, some notching or some slight nasal sound or something like that, which I battle with all the time. The Kramer tape, just to add some tape emulation, saturation type deal. The pull tech, I think I'm boosting here about 5K just for presence, and then I'm also adding some thickness. And then the RVox, which is a vocal compressor. So let's hear that before and after. And then this is going to a vocal reverb, which is different than the one before, and that is EQ'd like that. And then it goes into the Valhalla room, which is one of my favorite reverbs, and it just has a chorus plate on it. Pretty big reverb, but I think it sounds good. So let's hear the vocal part here. Oh, before you go that, let's see. There's no real, yeah. So there's a little bit of processing on the actual tracks themselves. This is I don't know why this cut is, but there was probably a reason for that. It's been too long ago. Here's just a slight cut in the 1.5. There's a kind of a presence boost here. Looking at it, I'm thinking, oops, that might be a little too close to the S's, but it seems to be fine. And then it has the probably a bit of the same compression that before. However, it has a higher ratio, and it's a different setting, simply. And then the same thing on here. There's vocals on RVox to basically level my vocals. I redid these vocals at St. Cecilia Studios, so that's why they're labeled like that. And then there's EQ like that. Alright, so let's hear that without anything. Let's just deactivate all these too. Bum, 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 bum. Alright. I lay my hands upon no other, and I raise my hands up to the sky.
The boy is gone.
I lay my hands upon no other, and I raise my hands up to the sky. I lay my hands upon no other, and I raise my hands up to the sky.
The boy is gone.
I lay my hands upon no other, and I raise my hands up to the sky. I lay my hands upon no other, and I raise my hands up to the sky.
The boy is gone.
I lay my hands upon no other. So a bit of a long reverb there, but and also you might have noticed that the Kramer tape also has a slight tape echo delay thing going on there. And then I think that's about it. There's percussion, but there's really no mixing on the percussion. It's just sent to a drum reverb. It's very low in the mix. And the reverbs I've already shown you. The drum reverb here is the only one I haven't shown you, I think, which is just like a medium room. And the vocal reverb I've shown you as well. And then the mastering, I'm not really a mastering engineer, and I think one of these days I'm gonna find somebody else to master the tracks, because I always feel like I'm doing something that's not quite right, although I do know how to do most of it, and definitely does sound better. However, I feel like I'm always going overboard. So this is my mastering chain here. And then it just goes into LA2A. Let's put that up here. Like that. So it goes in the multiband compression here, and from there it goes into the broadband EQ. I did some dips here in the mids. Then it goes into Saturn that has a nice mastering preset that I tweaked around a little bit. Just basically a tube or saturation thing. Just adding some nice harmonic distortion to it. Then it goes into another tape emulation, and then into the Pultec, and that is doing absolutely nothing. It's just actually for color. There's just something that happens once you put this on a track that I like. And then it just goes into the LA2A. So let's deactivate all these, and you'll hear the difference. I lay my hands upon no other, and I raise Okay, so let's listen to the finale here, just to end the video. But I hope you learned something from it. But what I really like about these is that I know that I'm not doing this perfectly well. And there's definitely things that I learn every time I do a new mix in any way. And for this particular mix, what I'd like to do better next time for a new song or our upcoming single, which should be out sometime in April or May, is I'd like to do a little bit better job on the mastering. I would like to use better reverbs, or be better at using the reverb. It's always have a hard time dealing with the reverb and making sure that it doesn't clutter up the mix. And then I wish I had a better electric guitar sound, but that's something that ties into one of the things that I'm really trying for the upcoming single, is getting it better at the source and using EQ and compression on the way in to get the sound exactly as I want it, so that there's less mixing and more actual production and recording. So that's it for the mixing video. Hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. I hope it gave you some fun insights that you can then take away from and use in your own mixes, and maybe just gives you a fun insight into how this track sounds and what you're listening to as you're listening to the track. So if you like this sort of video and you want us to continue, go to patreon.com/thelongwait and support us there, and also check us out at thelongwait.com. All right, thanks a lot. See you later.
Useless from the start, that boy is gone. I lay my hands upon no other, and I raise my hands up to the sky. The boy is gone. I lay my hands upon no other, yeah. And I raise my hands up to the sky. I lay my hands upon no other, and I raise my hands up to the sky. That boy